So yes, we are discussing about this fourth module. Just let me connect. Any questions, any queries you have, you're open to discuss. You have anything in specific to ask, you're open to discussion. So we are discussing about file systems, which is module 4. That file systems, the first topic, very first topic we have seen, which is file systems and IOCS. Okay. Out of that, we are going to see now file operations. We have slightly covered that. We'll complete that part. So I'll just glance you what we discussed and then we'll go to the concepts. Okay. So this is what the overview what we have viewed here, overview of the operating systems in file processing. So this is what we have seen. And we have seen the topic on file operations. Okay, let us discuss that file operations part. So this one, file operations is what we discussed. So in this file operations, we have two types of files. One is structured files. The other one is byte stream files. Structured files will have everything in proper order. Let us say employee ID, employee name, okay, what's the designation of the employee and what's the age of the employee. Everything, all the fields here are properly structured. Which means whichever field you want this corresponding field, you can take out the data. But whereas in this case, all the data is combined in one bit stream. So this is a packet data. Let us say everything is there inside that. So everything is there inside that. Whichever field you want, you can extract. It's not possible to extract. As a data, you have to take it off. Okay. So that's what we have seen here. And we are trying to see the operations of this one by one. So this one is opening a file. We know that, right? Whenever you want to open a file, and this reading, closing, this copying, deletion, renaming, and specific access or privilege. So this is what we are trying to see. Now, how do you open the file? So this is second topic, which is file operations. This one, file operations. This topic we are trying to see. Okay. So in that opening a file, let us see one by one point here. The file system finds the directory entry of the file and checks whether the user whose process is trying to open the file that necessary access privileges. What does it mean? Let us try to understand from point to point. The file system finds the directory entry. So it will find out the entry point. Directory entry of the file. Which entry? Entry for the corresponding file it will find out and checks whether the user whose process is trying to open the file has necessary access or privileges. So whenever you are trying to open this now, entry of the file, if you give on open, here, it will check for the privilege. If it is yes, open. If it is no, don't open, don't allow. Okay. So this way it will go on. Okay. It then perform some housekeeping actions to intimate processing of the file. So this is what it is going to do. Very simple, right? Let us think like you have a smart home with you. This is the smart home door. You have kept a camera on top of it here, and the camera is going to scan 360 degrees. Let us say or 180, 270 degrees it will scan. When a person who is entering near to the home, it will scan for the face. The face recognition, iris is going to check, iris is matching, then open the door and give the access. If iris is not matching, don't open the door and don't give the access. Okay, simple as that. Whether it will check for it is there in the database or not. Yes, it is there, open it. If it is not there, don't give the corresponding access. So simple as that. Okay, all right. Then is reading or writing. So reading or writing, what does this reading or writing mean? The file system the file system considers the organization of the file. So it will see how the organization it is structured or it is flat or what way it is being structured. It will try to find out, and based on that it can able to read or write. It's going to check, it can read the data or it can write the data. So here we are trying to read or write anything on top of it is what we are trying to check it out. Okay, read slash write operations in the appropriate manner, whether we can able to do it or not, whether we can able to access it or not. Okay, all that we are going to check by using this read write operation and so on. Okay, is that clear? So that is regarding reading. So next one is your uh, closing a file. Let us say we have a file which information in the file directory entry is updated. So whenever any file we open or any file we close, right? So its data should be updated in the directory. Based on the data what's available in the directory, it is going to access and it's going to update. Let us say you are typing something in a notepad or you are typing something on a Word file. Okay. Immediately when you are trying to close the Word file, what it is going to do, it is going to calculate how much of content was there inside that. Let us say 1 KB, 2 KB, 3 KB, like that. Based on that content, it's completely going to be saved, and then it will update the display that it is the file size of 17 KB, the file size of 40 KB. Okay, like that it will save and close it. And next time when you are trying to do again, how it should do? Let us say you have opened your mini project report you are trying to prepare. For example, you started from first page, second page, third page, you completed today. This week you are busy with the IA, you don't open it again for 1 week. Now this, let us say it is occupied 30 KB. Okay, so when you open this corresponding file here, let us say mini project file, mini project, it will going to show around 30 KB. It will show like this. The moment you close this file here, you have minus, you have maximize window, and you have close window, right? If you click on this close window here, it's going to save the corresponding data size of that. Okay, and you want to copy this file again, making a copy. A copy of the file is made, a new directory entry is created for a copy, and its name, size, location and protection information is recorded in the entry. Whenever you try to create any file copy, let us say you have a Word file, for example, it can be Word file, MP3 file, PPT file, executable file, whatever file it is. In general, we are talking about whenever you are trying to make a copy of it, all the details of its, let us say this name, size, location, protection view, all of them are recorded again into the database. Okay, that's about making a copy of the file. File deletion, if you want to delete a file. Okay, so what you are trying to do, directory entry of the file is deleted and the disk area occupied by its freed. Uh, if you want to delete a file, let us say, for example, you just go back here, you just check this diagram. If this file, if you want to delete, okay, and this corresponding file will get deleted, this will get deleted, which means all the entities related to that will not be there. And let us say this has been stored inside this block. Okay, inside that block also that corresponding memory will get deleted. So when you delete a file here, correspondingly what data you have in that memory also should get deleted. Okay, that's what they are trying to say for the operation of files. So deletion regarding, and file renaming. What does file renaming mean? The new name is recorded in the directory entry. You have renamed it. You have given mini project 30 KB you did, and after IA you did some more thing. You did around some 20 pages. That's your final copy. You just gave mini and left it. Now what you do? You give your USN number 1VE, so on. You give your USN number, and then that corresponding file is your final file. Like this, you rename. If you rename the file, what is happening here? The new name of that is recorded in the directory entry of the file. We have a directory entry. Inside that, the new name will go and replace the old name. The old name will not be there now. We have completely with the new name. Next is how to give the access. Let us say you shared a document in Google Drive to someone. Okay, whether you are going to give the access only for read only you are given, or they also can edit that. Okay, and one more thing, if you can able to do the PPT, right? Let us say you have your PowerPoint presentation PPT. All of you are staying together, you can do it. What you can do is this PPT you can divide into 4 partitions. Slide 1 to 5, okay, slide 6 to 10, slide 11 to 15, and slide 16 to 20. Like this you can make, and you upload that corresponding PPT into a Google Drive. You upload that corresponding, any one of you can upload that Google Drive. Once you upload that to Google Drive and you give share option for everyone, you click on share option, you give this access to all 4 of them who are there in your mini project. Then parallelly, what will happen, each one of them can update. Let us say first person will update slide 1 to slide 5, and this information can be viewed by these people also. And slide 6 to 10, someone second person is going to update. Any changes they are going to do, they are going to do there only. Or if someone here, if you want to supervise all these 3 people whether they are doing correctly or not, he can go to slide 6 and check whether he want to change something, rename something, delete something. He can do that. Okay, whether you want to give the access for them to view only, or whether they want to share it, they can also edit, is what you can do. That's called as your privileged access. The protection information in the file directory entry is updated. So whether we are able to give the protection, yes, we can able to give it, or we don't want to give any protection, let them we only read only mode, no need to uh, edit or anything you want to update, that also is possible. So that's about your file operations. This is your second topic in your fourth module 4.2. Okay, so this part you can look at 13.2 from your textbook. The textbook 13.2, what PDF I have shared, right? Then that 13.2 part you can look at this second part. Okay, and moving on to the next concept, file organization. So till here you can be prepared for your IA, file organization. So this is your third topic in your fourth module. So fourth module 4, third topic. Okay, so let us see this file organization. Okay, how the files are organized, how they'll be stored, or how they are going to allocate it, all that let us see. So fundamental record access patterns. So we have some fundamental, these are all fundamental things we are trying to see. Fundamental record access patterns. Record access patterns means what? If you want to view something, already you have stored the data onto the memory. If you want to view this, or if you want to view this, how you can view it? So we can view in one way, we call it as sequential access. Another one is random access. So I'll give an example to you to understand. Sequential access means what? Uh, Let us say you have to check one by one. You check first block, check second block, then check third block. Like this, first, second, third, all these blocks you're going to check. You're going to go in order 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. You go in order. Okay, let us say I'll ask you a question, simple question. If let us say person 2 is a friend of person 15. Okay, if person 2 is a friend of person 16, if somebody is asking where is this 15, where they are located, where they are, so second person may be knowing the information about 15. Okay, if they don't know that second one itself, these two are friends, then they have to ask first person, second person, third, fourth, fifth. It will keep going. It keep going in order. That's your sequential access, which means whenever you are trying to store a data, it will store here, it store here. That's like contiguous memory. It keeps continuing from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up to n number. It keeps continuing. So that's like a sequential access. You're going to search for it in a sequential manner. Okay, and random access means what? Randomly we'll check, we do not know where exactly it is, some randomly we are going to check. Let us say sometimes you will do that, right? You will take your some certificate of yours, maybe in your 10th class, or maybe on +1 +2, you got some certificate, you have kept it in your cupboard, and you have shifted your home from one place, you have changed to other place, then you have to find out the document. How do you do it? You keep doing searching, keep searching one by one in your cupboard, right? You search in a sequential manner or you search in a random manner here and there, you will do it. So both have their own advantages and disadvantages. Okay. If you do sequentially, definitely you're going to get the work done, but this will take time. Okay, this one is less time consuming. Time consuming is very less here. Okay, but we cannot say whether it can be done or not. Randomly we want to do. Okay, that's the thing. Next, any doubts in this? Any discussions in this? Yes, no. But if you combine both of them, sequential and random together, then we can do wonders. Okay, let us see that. The file organization is a combination of two features. What are the two features? Method of arranging records in a file. So file organization should have to maintain the records of arranging. Let us say you have stored properly, but you need to arrange it properly also. This has to be done by operating system. The operating system also has to arrange the things in order in a systematic manner. That is first thing it has to do. It should have a proper method of arranging records in a file. And second one is what? A procedure for accessing them. We need to have some procedure for accessing them. We should have some certain procedures how to access them and how to do it. So if we don't have procedures, then it will be difficult to follow what pattern to be done. Okay, so procedure has to be clear. Procedure for accessing them also has to be clear. Next, access to files. Access to files governed by a specific file. Third point, access to files specified by a governed file. So first one is what? We are going to see the access in sequential or random manner. We are going to organize in a method or by using a procedure. And third one is what? Access to a file is governed by a specific file. So which means this file, we have one file here, and this file is having a subfile, supporting file, let us say. Okay, if I want to access this file, let us say the child file, this is a parent file. If I get the access for the parent file, I can access the child file easily. Or else if I want to access only this one without the intervention of parent file, it cannot be possible. Okay, so if you want to access, uh, let us say the car parking area of a house, first you need to access inside the house. If you get the access for this house, you can able to get the access for the car parking. Okay, so this is the mall. Let us say in mall, if you want to get the access of car parking, you have to make sure that complete mall you have to get entered into it. So that's like that here. We should access to a file governed by a specific file. Okay, organization are implemented by, this is being controlled by IOCS, input output control system. Is going to allow the access or deny the access. So this is what the file organization is happening in your operating system. And first one we told here, right? So first one what we told here, let us just clear this data and see this. So first one we told sequential access, right? So that's what we are trying to see, sequential access. The first one, sequential file organization. Okay, what does this sequential mean and how to do that? Let us see one by one. Records are stored in an ascending or decreasing order, which means sequential, which means you start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your ascending order. Or you go from 102, 101, 100, 99 and so on you go, that will be your descending order. Anyway, it can be ascending order or it can be descending order, but it should be in a sequential order. The sequence has to be managed. The sequence has to be managed. That's the key here. Sequence is the key. Okay, and the record access pattern of an application is extended to follow suit. So two kinds we can do it. Read the next or previous record. If you see here, if you're going from here to here, it's like reading next. If you're going from here to here, it's like reading previous. Either you follow read next or read previous record. Any one pattern we need to follow. Okay, and then we can also do skip the next or previous record. You can also skip one by one. If you want to go one here, and if you have two here, and you have three here, you can go skip second one, go for second one. This you can skip. This way also you can go 1, 3 and 5. You are going in this order. This also can be sequential when if you are doing in this manner. Skip. Okay. Skip the next or previous record if you go. So that's why it is been done. And what is the use of this sequential manner? When data can be conveniently processed into an ascending order or descending order manner. So sequentially if you do it, we can able to know clearly how the memory usage is being done. Okay, so this can be done for byte stream files. So I told you, right, two types of files are there. What are the two types of files? First type of file is what? And second type of file. So in this file we have employee ID and we have his name, his age group, okay, and his employee ID. Like that we have details, and we have something in byte stream. I'll just show you once quickly. You see this one? So two types are there. One is structured files and byte stream files. So this byte stream files, if you want to use sequential manner, this byte streams you have to use this one sequential manner. You keep going ascending order. You should keep going incremental order, or it can be decremental order. It is in ascending order, and this can be descending order. So this byte stream files has to be accessed in a sequential manner. Okay, and whereas what is the other manner to access sequential manner? And one more, random access. Okay, let us see what is this random access. For byte stream files, we should use this sequential file organization. Okay, that's about sequential order. Next is direct file organization. Second one is what? Direct file organization. We should access the file directly. Okay, we can able to read the file or write the file to the individual key field. Let us see, we have the blocks like this. Let us say this first block and second block and this third block like this. If you want to go to third block, you can able to go directly. No need to go to first block and the second block. You can avoid these two blocks. Directly you can go to third block, which means if you want to read a data or write a data, so this can be used in that manner. Okay, and what about the disadvantages of them? What about the drawbacks of them? Direct access. Record access calculation consumes CPU time. So this, it will take a lot of CPU time to do it. Okay, this will consume lot of time, or let us say this will consume lot of CPU time. Right? We cannot able to do that so easily because it's going to consume lot of CPU time. And what else we have? What else problems we have here in this? CPU time is more, and then some recording capacity of the disk is wasted. So we'll have to waste some of the recording capacity of the disk. So this will go simply wasted. Recording capacity will go simply wasted because of this. Drawback. And then dummy records exist for a key value that are not in use. We are going to create some dummy values. Okay, so because of this also the problem will get wasted. Okay, so this is the problem what we face. Okay, is that clear? Next, so examples we'll try to see for sequential and direct. So one example of sequential we have, and one example of direct file access. So where is sequential file access? See this one here. Let us say we have an employee ID, employee 1, followed by 2, and 4, 10, 12. What is this here? So it's a sequential file. It can be increasing order or decreasing order. We may skip some files. Let us say you feel like sir 3 is not there here, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are not there here. But still, either if you are going in incremental order here, then still you can call it as a sequential file. It can be either incremental or it can be either decremental. Okay. Now here you see same thing, 3 is not there, right? And 5 up to other things are not there. 5 to 9 is not there. Okay. And they are dummy records which we don't use. So this is direct access. If you want to go to 4, directly I can go and access 4. But whereas here I should go in order. First I should go to 1, then 2, then 4. Here if you want to access 4, I can do directly. Okay. Where in this direct access we have something called as dummy records will have. Employee with the employee numbers 3, okay, 5 to 9 and 11 have left the organization. So what we are trying to do here, we have deleted the corresponding entities here. Let us say we have when you join to first year, right? We will give USN numbers. Correct? USN 1, 2, 3, like that we'll go up to USN 11 we'll give. Now this USN 3 has changed the branch or changed the college. What they'll do, they'll delete when you keep in the roll number list, right? Roll number list, what they do, they'll not keep this name. For example, roll number 3, they'll not keep it here. So 1, 2, 4 they'll call. After 4 directly 10. Okay, this is one way of doing it. That's a sequential file. But here what they are trying to do, they'll put some other records here. Instead of deleting it, someone else will be kept up there. Okay, if someone else will come, that name we keep up here. So you know that you understood, right? Let us say USN 1, 2, 3, it will go. 18 series 1, 18 series 2, 18 series 3, it will go like this. Now 18 series 3 is not there. What we'll do, 18 series 4 will go. That is sequential manner. What we do in this dummy, this direct files, USN 1 will be there, 2 will be there, and 3 place is empty, right? So 3 place empty, I'll give some other value in this, or we may leave it blank, but we may keep up some other dummy records inside that instead of deleting it. Okay, so that's your direct access file. If you want to store the dummy value, you are going to store directly into this location. Okay, so that's why it's called as direct. Whereas here it's a sequential manner. You understood the difference of that. If the employee is working in a company with ID 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 11, these many people have left the organization. Then what they should do, if they are maintaining the records in a sequential file, they are just going to take out of the file. That's all. Direct case, in place of 3, somebody else will join, right? That record they'll insert. Or we don't know any other record if they may insert. So like that, it depends on the application to application. It depends on person to person, and the perspective will change. This is how we have the access to sequential and direct access. Okay. And one more thing, we have something called, what we are trying to do, we are trying to do organization of the files. Okay, we're going to see the organization of the file. We're going to see the organization of the file. We have first thought we have seen sequential, we have seen. Second we have seen direct, and third one is index sequential file organization. What does this indexing mean? So this index will always helps us to determine the location. Okay, so this index part will helps us in determining the location of a corresponding record based on its key value. Let us say I give an index as 18. Okay, here let us think that this 18 was there here. So this is what your index. Okay, so pure index organization, pure index organization. Purely indexing, if you are following, we should have the key, should have the value, should have the disk access, all that. Okay, and if you are using index sequential organization, we should make sure that we should have a disk surface and may contain the record. All the things has to be maintained. Let us see here what is happening. track index and higher level index as an index sequential file. You see this one here. Now, this is a group. This is a group, and this is low, and this is high level, low level and high level. Higher level index. So higher level index, we can also maintain 43 and 96 are higher level indexed. Lower level index is like 1 and 45 for time being in this to understand. So this is your track 1 and this is your track 2. Okay. Now let us see here track index. This is your higher level index. Now we see the track index. The track index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we maintain, and this track 1 can be lower, 13 can be higher. Okay, what is the meaning of that? You see this one here 1. This corresponding 1 is the lower value, and this 13 is the higher value. So that's why this track index, what it maintained. So this is track index, how they maintain track 1. The lower value is 1, higher value is 13. Like this they maintain. Okay. Next what they maintain, track 2. Track 2, what's the lower value? 16. What's the ending value? 31. So 16 here and 31 here. 16 is your lower value, 31 is the higher value. Okay. And track 3. Track 3 you see here, track 2 is track 3, 32 is starting value. Okay. And 43 is a ending value. It's a random values why what they have taken, provided they are assuming like it's a 16 bit file like that they have taken roughly. As an example, you can just try to take the values. And what about this one here? What about this one, higher level index? This is track index. What is this? How to understand this one? Okay, so think of it, how to understand this one. Let us discuss shortly. Okay, it's very simple, right? Track index is what? Telling the starting value and ending value. Okay, that's simple as that. Let us say when I'm telling, when you are filling the lab or when you are trying to tell, let us say batch B1. So batch B1, what we'll do, batch B1, it is from 1 to 30 we'll write. That's all we'll write. We'll not write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 to 30 is B1 and B2 is like 31 to 60 for reference. So this is what your, this can be your track 1 and this can be track 2. This file is good enough to understand. This is your attendance sheet, let us say. So like this, we are going to have the indexing in this manner. Indexing, track indexing, and we have the sequential tracking. So this way we can able to organize the files. Okay, and how to access them, what are the methods we have to access them. So access method is by using IOCS module, input output control system module. We have to organize. First thing what it will do, it will produce the file organization and it will find out the techniques what are involved in it. What are the techniques here? Buffering of records and blocking of records. So these two techniques, anyone we can follow, buffering or by blocking. What buffering will do? It will able to maintain a record of an input or read ahead of the time when they need a file. Let us say I need file number 4. Okay, it will search the buffer and find out and get the value. It is done. And here blocking of records, what it will do, when you have a larger amount of data, if you give, let us say 3 record 3, it should be able to show that this record does not exist. Okay, so like that it should be able to maintain, and either we can do by blocking or we can do by buffering. So buffering of records is very simple. Records of an input file are read ahead of the time when they are needed by a process. Whenever the process need it, it will understand before only and do it. Let us say you see some video on YouTube, right? So down you have something with gray colored, you can able to see. So that's your buffering. What is it? Before you able to see the, let us say you are at the timeline of 14 minutes, till 18 minutes it will buffer, which means what you're going to watch in this 4 minutes is been already kept ready for you. So that's your buffering. Okay. Next one is blocking. What is blocking? A large block of data whose size exceeds the size of the record on the file is also read from. So this is like buffering, which what we are trying to do for 4 minutes, we will keep advanced to you to see. This is like you are watching online video. We are going to buffer, or else you download the file and do it, right? So that's your blocking records, which means this corresponding record, you are going to block it only for you. This is your record. Whenever you want to pause, You can pause it whenever you want to play, you can play it wherever you want to edit and delete, you can do all that. So that simple example will make you understand accessing methods. Whenever you want to watch a movie online, you can see or download and see. Right? Online, if you're seeing, that's called as buffering the records. If you have the file with you, complete access is there with you, that's like blocking of records. Okay, so like that we can able to access the corresponding files. So next one is directives. Directory structure is the fifth topic. So this one we'll just see in the next class. Probably we have class tomorrow 25. We are going to see 25/6/2021. Okay, and anything you have doubts, we'll revise. If not, there are no other doubts for you, we'll continue with the class tomorrow. And Saturday exclusively, we'll have the revision session for the corresponding module 3, 4 and 2. Okay, you need to read up to this point where up to file organization. Up to file organization you need to prepare. Okay. So this one up to this file organization you need to be prepared for your, so up to this file organization part, up to this here you need to be prepared for your second IA. Okay, so anything else you want to ask? Second IA till here, till this 4.3 file organization. So till this part you need to be prepared. Okay, is that clear? Yeah. So any other doubts and questions? Any questions you have? If you have any queries and questions, so be prepared and discuss with me in tomorrow's class and Saturday's class. So what are questions and queries? We'll clarify that, and from Monday you have the IA, right? Be prepared for that. Okay. All right. If you do not have any questions and queries, you can make a move for today. So we'll see. We'll meet in the next class. Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.